Unsolved mysteries. The case of the missing student. Imagine this: a freezing New Hampshire night, snow falling, and a lone car spun out on a desolate road. A bus driver stops, offers help. The young woman behind the wheel, she calmly says she's already called police. The driver, a good Samaritan, leaves to phone police just to be sure. But here's where it gets chilling. Just 9 minutes later, when the cruiser pulls up, what do they find? An empty car. Headlights still blazing. Snow gently blanketing the scene, but not a single fresh footprint. Zero. 9 minutes. That's all it took for Maura Murray to step out of her wrecked Saturn and vanish, seemingly into thin air, straight into legend. Hey everyone, I'm Josh, and welcome back to Unsolved Mysteries. Tonight we're diving deep into a case that has absolutely captivated the internet and launched 1,000 Reddit threads. We're talking about the disappearance of Maura Murray. She was a 21-year-old nursing student at UMass Amherst, bright, on the dean's list, a West Point dropout, with a recent credit card fraud citation hanging over her head. Meet Maura. She was complex, full of potential, and on February 9th, 2004, she simply vanished. By the end of this video, you'll have every verified detail, sticking strictly to the facts, so you can start to form your own educated opinion on what might have happened. The days before. Let's rewind 6 days before that fateful night to February 4th, 2004, 11:30 p.m. Maura's shift at the campus security desk wraps up. Security footage shows her walking calmly to her car, alone. No apparent urgency, just a student heading home. But over the next 48 hours, things start to get peculiar. She emails her boyfriend, lamenting a meltdown and promising a long heart-to-heart phone call. What was this meltdown? We don't know, but it hints at a significant emotional event. Then she starts making some very specific searches online. Directions to Burlington, Vermont, and perhaps most tellingly, how to make a fake ID. After these searches, she diligently clears her browser cache, almost as if she's trying to erase her digital breadcrumbs. Sunday night, she uses her cell to call a condo reservation line in Stowe, Vermont, for a conversation that lasts a full 4 minutes. Was she planning a getaway? A ski trip, maybe? Monday morning arrives and her actions become even more deliberate and frankly baffling. She prints out MapQuest routes not just to Stowe, but also to the White Mountains of New Hampshire. She then makes a trip to the liquor store, spending a not insignificant $40 on booze, Bailey's vodka, and a box of Franzia wine. That same day, she emails her professors, concocting a story about a family death requiring her absence. But there was no death. Not really. She was fabricating an excuse, clearly planning to be away. She packs a bag with clothes, toiletries, and her beloved stuffed animal. She withdraws $280 from an ATM, but then, curiously, leaves behind her credit cards and about half her paycheck. Why? At precisely 4:25 p.m., the campus clock strikes, and Maura Murray drives east on Route 9, a journey that tragically would be her last known sighting. She was never seen again. The crash. Her journey east eventually brought her to Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. This isn't your average highway. It's a dark, 2-lane ribbon of asphalt slicing through dense pine forest, virtually no streetlights, and cell service that's, to put it mildly, spotty. The temperature that night? A biting 18 degrees Fahrenheit. At 7:27 p.m., local resident Faith West hears a distinct thud from outside her home. She looks out and sees a black Saturn, Maura's car, spun out against a snowbank, its tailpipe still steaming in the frigid air. Just 3 minutes later, at 7:30, a passing bus driver, Butch Atkinson, pulls up to the scene. He asks the young woman if she needs help. Her response is curious. She tells him she's already called Doye. Atkinson, still concerned, offers to call the police for her, but she insists she's fine, waving him off. Heeding her wishes, Atkinson drives home, but something clearly didn't sit right with him. At 7:43 p.m., he calls 911. Just 3 minutes later, at 7:46, Officer Cecil Smith arrives at the crash site. And this is where the mystery truly deepens. The car is locked, the windshield is cracked, airbags deployed, indicating a significant impact. Inside, there's a Coke bottle mixed with red wine splashed across the ceiling, a detail that would later fuel speculation about impairment. The driver's side door is ajar, but here's the kicker. There are no footprints leading away from the vehicle. None. In fresh snow. It's as if she just evaporated. When police eventually get into the car, they find her wallet containing her debit card, her textbooks, and a printed email to her boyfriend, poignantly ending with, "I love you." But Maura herself, gone, vanished. The search. The clock was ticking and the urgency was immediate. Within an hour of Officer Smith's discovery, New Hampshire Fish and Game dispatched tracking dogs to the scene. These aren't just any dogs. They're highly trained K9 units, often incredibly effective in fresh snow. But even they were stumped. They picked up a scent, followed it for a mere 10 yards east of the crash site, and then it vanished. Just like Maura. This was highly unusual, baffling even for experienced handlers. A helicopter equipped with infrared technology was quickly deployed, scanning a vast 20-mile radius around the crash site. But that night, nothing glowed. No signs of life. The initial ground search was equally exhaustive. Over the next week, 100 dedicated volunteers, shoulder to shoulder, meticulously swept both sides of Route 112, combing through the woods and along the roadside. Their efforts, though valiant, yielded the same frustrating result. Zero physical evidence. No clothing, no personal items, no sign of Maura. Law enforcement then turned to her digital footprint, subpoenaing her phone records. The last known ping from her cell was at 6:37 p.m. near Londonderry, 60 miles south of the crash, suggesting the phone was either powered off or its battery died sometime after the accident. Since that night, Maura's digital world has been eerily silent. No ATM withdrawals, no calls, no email logins, no social media pings, no hospital admissions, no traffic tickets, and, most tragically, no body has ever been found. February 2004 has now stretched into February 2024, 2 decades later, and there has still been no confirmed sighting of Maura Murray. It's as if she simply ceased to exist. All right, if you're new to Unsolved Mysteries and you appreciate getting your facts served straight, no fluff, then do yourself a favor. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way, YouTube actually remembers to show you our next deep dive into another baffling case. And hey, while you're down there, a quick tap of that like button goes a long way. Seriously, every single click tells the algorithm that these forgotten stories, these cold cases, deserve more daylight, more eyes, and more chances at being solved. The theories. Now let's dig into the theories because this is where the internet really goes wild. Theory number 1, and one of the most persistent, is that Maura orchestrated her own intentional disappearance. Think about it. The pre-packed bags, the elaborate lie about a family death, the cleared browser history, that cash withdrawal, it all screams classic staging, doesn't it? With a pending court date for a credit card fraud incident, perhaps a bright but overwhelmed 21-year-old felt trapped and decided the only way out was to simply ghost society, to start fresh somewhere new. It's a compelling narrative, especially with all her secretive preparations. But here's the massive problem with this theory. If she was planning a new life, why leave behind a significant $2,500 in her bank account? And crucially, why leave without her passport? Furthermore, we're talking about sub-zero temperatures, dense wilderness, and Maura was, by all accounts, wearing only jeans and a coat. She had absolutely zero survival training for such harsh conditions. It just doesn't add up to a well-planned escape. Then there's theory number 2, a tragic misadventure in the woods. This one suggests that after the crash, perhaps fearing a DUI charge because of the alcohol in her car, and remember that spilled Coke and wine, Maura grabbed the booze and decided to hike into the surrounding forest. The idea being she'd wait for the cops to leave, then circle back. It sounds plausible, right? A moment of panic, a bad decision. But here's the grim reality of that night. Temperatures plummeted well below 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and hypothermia can set in, even for a healthy young person, in under 30 minutes in those conditions. The forest was thick, unforgiving. The biggest problem with this theory, though, comes back to those tracking dogs. They followed a scent for a mere 10 yards to the edge of the road and then nothing. If she'd wandered off into the woods, wouldn't they have found a more substantial trail? And despite repeated extensive searches in the spring and subsequent years, involving hundreds of volunteers and advanced equipment, not a single shred of fabric, a bone or a trace of DNA has ever been found in that vast wilderness. The complete absence of evidence is truly perplexing. Theory number 3 is, understandably, the one that gives people chills: foul play. This scenario posits that a secondary vehicle, perhaps a local looking for trouble or just someone passing through that desolate stretch of Route 112, pulled up to Maura's disabled car. Given the rural nature of the road, you might only see one car every 5 minutes, making it incredibly isolated. That isolation, combined with the opportunity of a stranded young woman, creates a terrifying risk. Did someone offer her a ride she felt she couldn't refuse, or worse, did they abduct her? It's a scenario that plays out in nightmares. But again, we hit a wall of missing evidence. No additional tire tracks were ever preserved at the scene that would suggest another vehicle had stopped for any length of time. No witnesses have ever come forward to place Maura in another car. And perhaps most frustratingly, after 2 decades, no body has ever surfaced despite extensive efforts. It's hard to imagine someone disposing of a body so perfectly in such a vast, often searched area. Finally, we have theory number 4, often championed by some of the more fervent armchair detectives online: police involvement. This theory largely hinges on the idea that the responding officer's timeline, Officer Cecil Smith's arrival at 7:46 p.m., might be off by several minutes, implying some sort of cover-up or wrongdoing. The insinuation is that Maura might have been taken into custody, or something happened with law enforcement that was then concealed. It's a dramatic thought, to be sure. However, the official record tells a different story. Dash cam timestamps from Officer Smith's cruiser sync perfectly with dispatch logs, leaving very little room for discrepancy in the timeline. More importantly, there has never been any evidence, not a single shred, to suggest Maura was ever taken into police custody or that any officer was involved in her disappearance. Multi-agency cold case reviews have thoroughly investigated these claims and have consistently found no evidence of misconduct. It's a theory born more of suspicion and the lack of other answers than concrete evidence. Which theory is yours? Drop it in the comments. Civil debate only, please. I'll pin the most evidence-based take. Recent developments. Despite the passage of time, this case is far from cold in the eyes of investigators and, crucially, Maura's family. In 2022, the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit made a significant move, assigning 2 full-time detectives specifically to Maura's case. Their mission? To meticulously re-interview every single original witness, hoping that memories have sharpened, or perhaps new details will emerge after 2 decades. They're still actively working on this. In a testament to modern forensic advancements, investigators are even attempting modern genealogy DNA analysis on a piece of rope found near the crash site. While this rope isn't directly linked to Maura, they're hoping to find touch DNA, microscopic skin cells, that might offer a new lead, however small. Just last year in 2023, ground-penetrating radar was deployed to scan the property once occupied by a local man who, for years, has been a favorite target of internet sleuths. The hope was to find something, anything, beneath the surface. But once again, the search yielded nothing anomalous. The family, still holding on to hope, tirelessly maintains Maura Missing. Org, a website dedicated to keeping Maura's story alive and soliciting tips. They've even offered a substantial $60,000 reward for any information leading to her recovery. Incredibly, tips still trickle in, about 1 per week on average. Each one is logged, meticulously mapped, and, when deemed credible, thoroughly searched. The commitment to finding answers remains unwavering. So, here we are, left with this enduring enigma: a locked car, a missing driver, And that confounding 9-minute window that has birthed an entire cottage industry of podcasts, books, and documentaries. Was Maura Murray a master of her own vanishing act, carefully engineering an escape from her life? Or did someone else, someone unknown, step into that 9-minute gap and tragically write her ending for her? The questions linger, heavy and unanswered, 2 decades on. This is why we keep her story alive. If by some chance you know anything, even a whisper, a tiny detail you might think is too small or insignificant, please contact the New Hampshire Cold Case Unit. Reference case 040849. It could be the piece of the puzzle that finally brings clarity. And I urge you, share this video. Let's keep Maura's face circulating in feeds because algorithms, sadly, fade faster than human memories. And for Maura's family, those memories and the hope of answers are all they have left. I'm Josh, this has been Unsolved Mysteries, and remember, the truth is out there. We just haven't found the footprints in the snow yet.